we're starting a few minutes late. Do we have a report from closed session, Mr. Splendario?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The council convened in closed session for the item listed on the agenda and received information from staff and provided direction, but took no reportable action.
Thank you. All right, so we'll officially call this regular city council meeting to order on Tuesday, March 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Reed,
Here.
Councilmember Pratton,
Here.
Councilmember Sandu,
Here.
Councilmember Farmer,
Here.
Mayor Rodriguez.
Here. All right. If everyone join us for a silent prayer and flag salute. Salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Tina, can you read our replay statement, please?
This meeting of the Galt City Council is recorded with closed captioning. The recording will be cablecast on Metro Cable Channel 14, the Local Government Affairs channel on the Comcast and DirecTV Uverse cable systems. The recording will also be video streamed at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting replays Friday, March 20th at 9 a.m. and Saturday, March 21st at 9 a.m. on Metro Cable Channel 14. Once posted, the recording of this meeting can be viewed on demand at youtube.com/MetroCable14.
Thank you. All right, do we have any additions and or deletions for the agenda? Okay, seeing none. Doesn't look like we have any presentations. Tina, would you like to read the public comment, please?
Under Government Code Section 54954.3, members of the public may address the City Council on non-agenda items. The public comment section is for the City Council to receive comments. Except for brief responses to questions, no discussion or action may be taken on any item that is not listed on the agenda. Please limit comments to a maximum of 5 minutes. Consistent with the City Council procedural guidelines, the mayor reserves the right to shorten the time limit for speakers to ensure the efficient and timely completion of all city business on the agenda. First up, we have Annette Bedsworth.
Good evening. My name is Annette Bedsworth, and I'm also the Director for Sacramento County Animal Care Services. So I wanted to share an announcement tonight that impacts the citizens of Galt. Supervisor Hume is funding with City of Elk Grove a MASH free spay and neuter clinic for your citizens. It's going to be held in April. The formal announcement, you guys are getting a preview because usually we don't announce these ahead of time, but the formal announcement will be made on Facebook in about 2 weeks, but we will accept appointments. This is definitely of value because if any of you know the cost of a spay and neuter for your pet, it ranges from $200 to $800 in Sacramento County, and this is being funded free. And your pet will be fully vaccinated and microchipped. So take advantage of this. There's 200 appointments that will be offered over a 3-day period. We are holding the clinic. We tried to hold it here in City of Galt, so it'd be close by for citizens, but there was no room or place available. So it looks like we're leaning towards a little bit north of Elk Grove. But that's all I have tonight. Please take advantage of these services because spay and neutering your pets do save lives.
Thank you. That's a great opportunity for everyone.
Madam Mayor, can I ask a question? Miss, so that's 200 appointments available for Sac County, entire Sac County?
200 appointments are available to the city of Elk Grove since they're funding half, and Supervisor Hume's district will be, Sacramento County is entitled to the other half of the appointments, so 100 appointments.
Okay, so it's first come, first served, first 200
is.
in Sac County.
Call
Okay.
875-MASH.
All right, thank you.
Bill Barber.
Good evening, thank you. About 6 months ago, we had meetings here about the Fairway Oaks subdivision. And the planning people were really nice and gave us a meeting. And they were supposed to update us, but 6 months later, I haven't got any updates on any of the issues that were brought up. So, any suggestions on who I could talk to?
Ms. Carloni, do you want to maybe get some information from him and reach out? Okay.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and give you my business card. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it looks like the roads are done, sidewalks are done, but nothing's done with Cornell or Bernal or any options for us. Thank you.
Stephanie Albert.
Good evening, City Council. I want to talk about a couple items for the Fairway Oaks development. I'm Stephanie Albert. I live on Cornell Road. All sides of my property are impacted from this construction. So initially, when we had the planning meeting for the final plans, the Planning Commission decided that there would be no two-story homes built against existing properties, and they listed those lot numbers that were listed in the Cahovinian properties, but the 6 that are going to be on our wall were not listed on there. So that meeting was August 13th, and I sent a follow-up email on 8/14. So I want to make sure that those 6 properties that are going to be along our wall are going to be single-story, because they have already erected 4 properties for that new Fairway Oaks development, and they look pretty, but I don't want them looking in my yard. My second point is that on the Cornell Road side, that was going to be a EVA access. It's my understanding that that's not going to be a EVA access, so I'm wondering what the plans are for that and who is going to maintain it. Because my suggestion would be for the wall to come all the way down to Cornell Road and the wall that's on Cornell Road to connect to it, so it just seals it all off. Also, my other item is, since they put the wall up, it's like flooding for us on our side of the wall, because now the wall is like a dam. So the natural flow of water is not there anymore. So we have flooding on the side and across the back and on the front, to where the mailbox people can't even put mail in the mailbox because the flooding was just so horrible. So I want to know who's responsible for that. Is that a Cahovinian project, or is that a City of Galt project? So if somebody could provide us some information or email follow-up, especially on the houses and that flooding, I would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
No more under that portion.
Okay, let's move on to item I, reports by city council members on regional boards, commissions, and committees. Mr. Vice Mayor.
I don't have anything.
Councilman Pratton.
Yes, I do have a couple. The last meeting, I had this one put away, and I forgot to mention it. I did attend the BCC, which is the Sacramento Valley Basin Air Pollution Control Council. That was February 6th. That's a Zoom meeting, and so this council covers air pollution and the burning of ag. And so nothing really to report on the meeting. That's just one that I attend monthly. It's a subcommittee. Wednesday, March 4th, I attended the Sacramento Local Agency Formation Commission, the LAFCO. Same thing, really not much to report on that. It's just an ongoing, we did have the second time around for there's a piece of property that's across the freeway from the airport. It's been a hot topic. It's been on the news. Actually, this was reported out on the news. We voted for it, in favor of it. There was quite a bit of opposition the first time it came through. This was the final time through. There was not as much opposition this time, but there were a lot of people at the meeting. I think we had about 30, 40 people speak. And so it passed, and there will be an industrial area built in there now going forward. Well, that's the plan, you know. That's what we voted on. So it's going to be brought into Sacramento, and then Sacramento will make the final decision. But they have already voted on it once before it came back to us. So the other one, don't have the date in front of me, was the Consumnes Water Board and Consumnes Groundwater Authority. So this was my first meeting with them, and very interesting. I learned a lot about our water. The only thing I think needs to be mentioned, I want to get out publicly, is there's discussion on, we have about 200 lots in the city of Galt that are on well water. And so if you live outside of the city, you're probably getting billed by this agency for water. It's not a metered thing. Their fee is generally like $10 an acre. So there's discussion. They're pretty anxious to try to figure out how to collect that money within the city of Galt for those folks who are not hooked up to our city water. So I know that that's in discussion. City manager's involved, our attorney's involved, Amy's involved in it. So it is being discussed. I just wanted to make it public so people are aware that's something that's probably coming. The conversation is, you know, they will be getting billed for it at some point, but are we gonna bill them and it's a pass-through to them, or are they gonna bill these folks? So working on those details. They're in a hurry to get this going, so I think you'll hear more about it at the next meeting. That's all I have.
I have a quick question. Is that $10 an acre per month? Or is it
That would be a monthly charge, yes.
monthly?
Yes.
And then is that all residential wells as well, or just ag wells? No?
Any property that's not hooked to our city is my understanding. Is that correct, Chris?
So it is residential wells as well. They're going to pay the same amount as ag wells?
Well, again, that's all in conversation. I'm just saying there's going to be a fee, and folks that have that and want to look into it, they can attend these meetings. They can contact me. Lindsay Carter is in charge of this, and she's very good at giving out information. So I could get you her phone number. The meetings are first Wednesday of the month out at Slough House. So you're welcome to attend.
No, thank you.
I'll be there.
Councilmember Sandu.
Yes, I'm going to report there is only one meeting I attended on March 9th. South Sacramento Conservation Agency Joint Power. And that was a very regular meeting. One thing we approved the whole year calendar, what day can be the meeting is, that meeting every other month. And the other thing we did approve is not concerned with the Galt, it was on Rancho Cordova. That was a steel ridge dedication agreement. There was a developer over there, so we did approve the between agreement between the developer and the city and the county. And that's all, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Farmer.
I had a question for Councilman Pratton. So if someone needed more information about the well thing, they could reach out to you and you could put them in touch with whoever, or you can try to give them more information on what you
Yeah, I
know.
would give him Lindsay's phone number and she's,
Okay.
like I say, she's very
And
good.
your information's on the city website under council members.
Yes.
Okay. Just want to clarify that. I apologize. I was supposed to make a statement when we came on open session, but I was busy making notes and I forgot. So I apologize to the city attorney. But out of abundance of caution, I was not part of the closed session prior to this open session meeting due to the item being discussed is within 500 feet of my personal residence. So I was not part of that meeting. Outside of that, I had no official meetings that I attended since the last meeting, so I don't have anything to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I attended first an orientation meeting for GSEC, which is the Greater Sacramento Economic Council. So my orientation was on this last Wednesday, March 11th. That was, I thought going to SACOG was drinking water from a fire hose, but they added about 4 other fire hoses. And then the next day, Thursday, March 12th, was that first board meeting. And this Economic Council has, it's public and private. And so there were some names that when I told my son who was there, he was like, his eyes got really big. And the gentleman from, the council member from Woodland was sitting next to me, and he was fangirling, is what I said, for some of these people. But what was discussed, which was kind of interesting, they are very pivotal, I guess, or supportive in getting MLS into Sacramento and MLB. So that was a big part of the discussion as the A's eventually make their way to Las Vegas, that Sacramento is in the running with 2 other cities on the west for a professional baseball team to come in. So it was pretty interesting to listen and to hear why Sacramento is better than its Portland and Salt Lake City are the 2 others. And so that was a big portion of the discussion, and a lot of excitement and energy in the air. Congresswoman Matsui was there and came and spoke about it, and many other things, and it was pretty fascinating. But again, a lot of information. I was very grateful that Ms. Mendez attended with me, because I saw her furiously writing notes, and I will be relying on her with that. But this only meets quarterly, but it was pretty amazing. There's a lot of information that just, again, a lot of information in there. So that's all I've got. So let's go ahead and go to item J, the information consent calendar. I will just go ahead and read them now. It is recommended that items 1 through 7 be acted on simultaneously unless a separate discussion and/or action is requested by a council member. Does anyone want to pull anything from consent?
I know we have public comment on some of them.
Okay, do we have public comment? Okay, so let me go ahead and read them, and then we'll go to, do we need to pull those that we have public comment on, or just, no? Okay, so item 1, receive and file warrants for period ending March 5th, 2026. Item 2, minutes of the regular meeting of March 3rd, 2026. Number 3, treasurer's report for period ending February 2026. Item 4, cancellation of the April 21st City Council meeting. Item 5, City Council public benefit funds, Mr. Reed. Item 6, approval of the side letter agreement between the City of Galt and the Galt Police Officers Association, amending Section 6.3, call-in and standby time compensation of the Memorandum of Understanding. Item 7, grant administration policy. So let's go ahead and take public comment.
Mark Jackson.
Alrighty. Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Mark Jackson. I'm the President and CEO of the St. Martin Foundation. I just want to take a moment to give you a brief update tonight. I know back in 2022, we came before City Council asking, with help with startup funds. But the St. Martin Foundation is a small nonprofit who are doing big things with the support of our community and the members of this council. Our mission is aimed at reducing homelessness among male veterans and non-veterans who are transitioning from alcohol addiction recovery programs. We help bridge the gap between recovery programs and independent living. At St. Martin Foundation, we prepare our participants to successfully reintegrate into society by providing them the tools and training necessary to become employable and sustain their day-to-day living. Since April of 2023, which when we got our first resident, till present, we've served a total of 28 residents. 6 of those 28 residents are outliers. They stayed less than 30 days, so they're not included. So 6 of our current residents, and of the 6 of the 5 of the 6 are currently employed, which is 83% employment. 16 residents completed the program. Of the 16, 12 are employed, which is 75%. And 15 of the 16 were housed, which is 94%. Housed means they either found housing of their own or they united with their family and are living with their family. 7 of the 28 are from Galt, so that's 25% Galt residents served. And our residents that we house at our residents, they don't pay a dime. And also I'd like to thank the members of City Council for their continued support and involvement in our community. I would also like to thank those who attended our annual Pasta Bingo fundraiser on February 21st, Mayor Bonnie Rodriguez, Vice Mayor Tim Reed, Councilman Matt Bratton, and Councilman Paul Sandu. Although Councilman Farmer was unable to attend this year, he has been supporting from the beginning. And let me see here. Not only has he attended 3 out of the 4 pasta and bingo nights, he was there, and he was also the first council member I approached when I had the idea of starting the St. Martin Foundation. I still remember standing in his coffee shop when he gave me some guidance and suggested that I bring my mission and vision before the city council so it could be captured in the meeting minutes and put on record. For that support early on, I want to say thank you. Back in August of 2022, like I said, we came before City Council. There wasn't any funds, unfortunately, for startup funds. We talked with the County of Sacramento as well. There were no startup funds there, but they did have sustainable funding through Behavioral Health Services, which we are now contracted through Behavioral Health Services in Sacramento County. Since opening our first location, we've relied on personal loans and funds raised through our annual pasta and bingo fundraiser along with our fireworks booth. Since then, we've also, like I said, we've secured funds through Sacramento County Behavioral Health Services with the help of former Supervisor Don Natoli. And while Supervisor Natoli was instrumental in helping us secure sustainable funding, we continue to receive support from current District 5 Supervisor Pat Hume and his staff. I would also like to thank Sacramento County Behavioral Health Services. Dr. Ryan Quist and his staff have continued to provide exceptional support and guidance as we work together to serve Sacramento County and the Sacramento County residents and members of the Galt community. So thank you again for your support.
Thank you.
Can I comment on that real quick?
Sure.
Thank you. Mark, I just want to say thank you. Great job on what you're doing, and that what you presented tonight is the reason that I've decided to take my public benefit fund and put it towards the St. Mountain Foundation. So for everybody that knows that item J5, the benefit fund is going to be going to the St. Martin Foundation to help support everything that Mark and his team have been doing. So thank you.
Yep, thank you.
And we have one more. Robert Jenkins.
Good evening. I'd like to say hello to the council in the city of Galt. I'm here in St. Martin's Foundation behalf. Thank you for having me here. My name is Robert Jenkins. I'd like to tell you a little about myself today. I am sober. I am a drug addict and an alcoholic. I have been using for around 35 years now. I've been trying to get sober by myself with no success. I was homeless, sleeping in Galt for quite a while. I ended up getting in a bad car accident, spent 2 months in the hospital, and learning how to walk again. I was on the street. Meanwhile, I had quit using drugs, but I was in fear because I was on the street. I was in fear of using again. I met a man who introduced me to Mark, thank goodness. We had talked. He said I was qualified to get into his house. So I was still on the street while I was waiting on a bed. Meanwhile, then he called me one day and said he had a bed available for me. So I rushed right over, had an interview with the manager. I was kind of scared. I went in there, I was welcomed. I was greeted very great, and she explained to me the program. The program was every weekday. I had to go and search for jobs at California Human Development, which is right here in Galt. I had to go and do some volunteer work once a week at Sunshine Food Pantry. I also had to do 9 hours a week of outpatient services at the town's health drug rehab. Had to do 5 AA groups a week, which I do now. Living in this house has been great. It requires daily chores every day. We supply our own food. We cook our own meals. We do our own laundry. The St. Mark Foundation has been great to me. It's a place to help us transition back into society. If it wasn't for the foundation, I don't know if I'd still be clean. I don't know if I'd still be living. This house has been giving me the skills to live a life of sobriety, be happy, and it's also, I'm very thankful for the foundation teaching me the skills for great success toward my sobriety and being a part of society now. And I'm very grateful for Mark and his foundation and the house, and it's a great thing, and I'm glad it's actually there. It does a lot. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your story with us, and congratulations on your success.
No more.
That's it? Okay. All right. Then I'll entertain a motion regarding the consent calendar.
Move.
Moved by Councilmember Sandu,
Second.
seconded by Vice Mayor Reed. Roll call?
Vice Mayor Reed?
Aye.
Councilmember Pratton?
Aye.
Councilmember Sandu?
Aye.
Councilmember Farmer?
Aye.
Mayor Rodriguez?
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Okay, item K, do we have any public hearings? Doesn't look
None.
like it. The regular calendar, City Council Office, Commission on Aging appointment.
Okay, so the recommendation is for Councilmember Sandu to appoint a community member to the Commission on Aging to fill a vacant position with a remaining term ending December 2026. This vacancy is due to the recent passing of Phyllis Johnson, and city staff advertised the vacancy on the city's website, social media sites. 3 applications were received from Robin Scarberry, Carol Backert, and Nicole Hemanover, and all the applicants met the required qualifications. And applications were sent to Councilmember Sandu, and did you wish to say anything?
Yes. Thank you, Tina. You know, the Commission on Aging, that commission is very important because we have a big population on the senior citizen. So I have a 3 applicant. All applicant was well qualified. You know, sometimes it's hard to make a decision, but finally, you know, I'm going to appoint Nicole Hemanova to this position. And I believe she's have experience working with the seniors, and I believing in she's gonna do a good job. So I'm going to appoint her. And I also like to ask if she's in the audience, if she can say a few words, come to the podium if she wishes to. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Nicole Hemanover. I want to thank you, Councilmember Paul Sandu, for appointing me. I'm a nurse. I've worked in senior health care for the past 20 years, and I look forward to serving on the Commission on Aging. So I thank you for appointing me.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the Human Resource Department. Approve the approval of two side letter agreements with the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 39, regarding a unit modification and salary range for the wastewater operator in training, updated salary schedules, and amendments to the personnel manual. Ms. Kobe.
Mayor and Council, the item presented for you tonight recommends adopting a resolution that accomplishes three things. First, approving two side letter agreements between the City of Galt and IUOE Local 39. Second, approving updated salary schedules, and third, adopting amendments to the personnel manual. The first slide letter addresses a bargaining unit modification. Following discussions with the IUOE, the city and union agreed that the remaining supervisory classifications in the unit will be moved from the represented bargaining unit to the unrepresented mid-management unit. This change aligns the structure with the city's employer-employee relations resolution and clarifies supervisory placement going forward. The second side letter establishes a salary range for the wastewater operator and training classification. While this job description already existed, it was not previously listed on the city's salary schedule as required by the California Code of Regulations. The updated salary schedule establishes a lower range than the wastewater operator 1 classification to reflect different minimum qualifications. There are currently 4 incumbents in the operator and training classification who will remain in the existing legacy rate until they promote within the series or leave the position. They will not be reduced in salary or Y-rated, but will receive the same incremental salary increases previously agreed upon during negotiations. Staff also conducted a review of the personnel manual to improve clarity and ensure compliance with new legislation. These updates include adding definitions for promotion and transfer, updating leave provisions to reflect statutory requirements, and expanding the education incentive matrix to include the additional supervisory classifications that were just moved into the unrepresented mid-management unit. The restructuring of the bargaining units does not increase overall compensation costs this fiscal year. The current incumbent in the equipment mechanic supervisor classification will move from the represented unit to the unrepresented group, and adjustments to the education incentive are required and will be incorporated into the base salary to maintain overall compensation equity. So staff recommends that City Council adopt the resolution approving the side letters, updated salary schedule, and personnel manual amendments. So I am available to answer any questions.
All right, council, do you have any questions?
I just have a quick question, Ms. Kobe. Are any of these positions that we're talking about, any of the ones that we recently, I know we recently lost a couple, at least one of our water treatment plant employees not too long ago. He was one of our supervisors or something.
No, they are not.
Okay.
That was the utility manager position, and it's not.
Okay.
That was already in the unrepresented mid-management unit.
Okay, I was just curious if the vacancy was a result of maybe the time it took to do this stuff and all that, so, but no connection. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Do we have any public comment?
No.
Okay, any other discussion? I think Mr. Arias cleared this up for me, but my only concern with this was Seems like we have a hard time keeping people here. So my concern is, are we going to have a recruitment issue at that level, that now that we're dropping that salary for anyone new coming in, and retention, will that, since we dropped that salary a little bit, do we anticipate having a retention issue?
We hope not. The reason for reducing the salary for the OIT is because we took a look at the last 3 years, and we've only lost one operator. So we didn't feel that a salary increase outside of negotiations was justified based on that reason.
Okay. All right. Anything else? I'll entertain a motion concerning this topic.
Moved. Second.
Moved by Vice Mayor Reed and seconded by Councilmember Farmer. Roll call.
Vice Mayor Reed?
Aye.
Councilmember Pratton?
Aye.
Councilmember Sandu?
Aye.
Councilmember Farmer?
Aye.
Mayor Rodriguez?
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Okay, any communication?
None.
Any city clerk's report?
No.
Comments by staff?
There are no comments tonight.
Okay. Comments by city council members. Vice Mayor Reed.
I only have one. Over the last week, I was able to attend a town hall for Assemblymember Flora that came to meet with the community at Galt PD. And it was a wonderful event that was set up by the chamber. It was sponsored by Aroma Bakery, and it was well attended. I did have some issues with the way that it played out, being that there was a small group of individuals that basically took up all the time, and unfortunately, some of our residents were unable to ask the assembly member their questions. So I've discussed this with the chamber, and they're working on, with his staff, on getting another time in which he can come down and outside of daytime hours, nights or weekends, so that we can get our community members back out there and be able to ask their questions so that they can get it addressed. But other than that, I talked with him for a second, and it was a great meeting.
Okay.
That's it.
Councilmember Pratton.
I also attended that meeting. It was disappointing that, there were some folks there just to attack, make a political spectacle of it. But hopefully, we'll moderate it or something differently the next time. See how that goes. And that's all I have.
Okay. Councilmember Sandu.
Just a few things. First of all, thank you for the staff. They're hardworking. The second, thank you for the public comment. Public comment is very important. That's the way the council member know what's going on there. And I also like to thank you, everyone, come to this meeting. Thank you, that's all.
Councilmember Farmer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a few items, actually. I have 3. The first is, and I apologize to the city manager, I just wanted to, this is a last minute thing, maybe you could pass this along to code enforcement. Apparently there's a home on Pastana Drive, I believe it's 655, was involved in a fire, I think at least 2 years ago. The house is boarded up. There's been multiple calls to service, from what I've understood, to that home. The issue with the home is that people are coming and going. I don't know if they're squatting in there or whatever, but the home is a danger to the neighborhood. If it's boarded up, it's a nuisance to the neighborhood. Property values, I'm sure, are being affected. I've heard the backyard has grown really super high, which is a fire danger. So I can go on and on about that, but if we can have somebody look into it, and if 2 years, I don't know where we're at in the process, if we're leaning that, property, what's happening with it? Why is there no, action being done to get the property open again or whatever? So, thank you, Chris. The second item is regarding Fairway Oaks. I just want to thank the people that spoke tonight. I know that a lot of you are being impacted by this project, and trust me, as those of you know where I live close to the project, which is why I'm not officially involved in the decision making on that. But I have been following the project from day one, and so there's been a lot of concerns. I just want to bring up a couple points. One is, and I know I spoke with you, Chris, but Mr. Trunk, or Mr. Tran, I'm sorry. I drove through the project on Sunday and was taking a look. So you are aware that there's been two types of block used. My understanding is the lower block is a retaining wall, which would be holding dirt. So that particular retaining wall, as you and I discussed in our emails, they used certain mortars, a different kind of block, right? And so the reason it wasn't a concern is because it's not visible. And then the top portion is a decorative style wall, which is a different style block. But the issue is I drove down Cornell and there's actually some spots on it that there is spots on the old side of the wall, not facing the new homes, but facing people on Cornell, also facing residents on Glendale, that although they got a decorative face on the block, it's two different colors of block. And there's not even mortar and stuff. And I know I've talked to Chris and I've talked to you via email, but I'm just want to say this publicly because I know there's people out here and I want to, a lot of things get discussed behind the scenes. And I think maybe some of the residents just don't think that we care or we're talking about this. And there's been a lot of dialogue about this. So one concern of mine is that, I had asked who's inspecting this to make sure everything's being, and, we have a consultant we hire, it's doing all these. I just want to get, what I'm asking for from you, Mr. Tran, and from, city management is that we are going to be holding the people that we're hiring and paying to the absolute best, that they're going to do their jobs to make sure that what's going on. There's drainage problems, which were brought up tonight. Those are a real concern. I'm hearing those from people on Glendale. I've seen videos of water flowing through cracks, and they don't even have dirt up against there yet. I mean, we haven't even had hard rain since then. I just don't want to see this be like a box of hand grenades that comes back on us later on, and I feel like that's what we're leading to. The other thing is, and I appreciate you, Mr. Tran, working hard to get an answer on this, is there was some concern about the expansion joints that were in the wall, and they were supposed to be filler, which is called that on the blueprint. I know there was a resident that brought that forward. They had concerns, so we had a conversation, and you finally were able to get me an answer. And you assured me in the email, and I'm looking to get assurances again to this whole entire body, that we are going to be holding the contractor accountable to put that joint filler that in the expansion gaps, those gaps. They will be installing that, correct?
They actually have installed some of them already, and they're
Right, I'm
still
aware
in
of
the
that.
process of doing that. There's also, yes, we will, as far as what's on the plans, what's on the standards, if it's shown on there, we will hold them accountable to that.
Okay.
Now, I can comment on that. I've seen that, what they've done so far, and it doesn't really match. So,
Yeah, well, the expansion joint filler is concerning because I know that there was some vocal residents that said, hey, and then, so they got theirs, the contractor came out and filled the gaps in where it brought up against them. But I feel like, is this what it's going to be? Is it going to be that unless the tenants complain that they're not going to get the joint filled? So that's what I'm concerned about. I feel like, we got to make sure that our people, right, our consultant, whoever, is making sure that gets held accountable. So I have that assurance, Mr. Chen, right?
Yeah, 100%. No, we are going to do that.
and please ask them to match the color.
Yeah, so just the bottom of the wall is a retaining wall, and that's tied directly into the foundation, and it's meant for a structural retaining. And that is basically has that color, and then obviously the one above that's your typical Proto 2 wall that they do essentially decorative. So it's a lot of these materials, they don't come out matching 100%, and especially with different products, you can't even, most of the time it's hard to match products. But as far as what's on the construction details and what is shown on there, we will hold the developer contractor
Right.
responsible for it.
And I know it's rearview mirror. We can't go back on, but I just, I've had planning commissioners come to me who have seen that wall and they're just frustrated because these are the types of things that the planning commissioners felt like should go without saying. We shouldn't have, when we say we want you to build a full wall up against X neighbors and existing homes, et cetera, they shouldn't have to get into the weeds and say, and can you make sure the wall matches? I mean, that shouldn't have to be said, right? So then why, look, I know you're out there in the trenches, Trent. I appreciate your hard work on it. This project has been challenging, for lack of better words, but I just feel like we just got to keep our eye on the ball on this thing and make sure that we don't have stuff that comes back on us later and then we're having to deal with it, because that's what it's been like the whole time, really. So that's all I have on this item. So again, I appreciate the people that came tonight. My next item is a little different, but I want to bring this up. And again, I apologize, Chris, and I wish that Amy was here tonight and the chief was here, but he's not. But the item I bring up tonight, and maybe some of you aren't aware, but this is more of a statement. And then when I finish this statement, I want to actually ask the council's support on maybe an agenda item or something. But for those of you that are aware, we have illegal pop-up vendors that are operating on the fringe of our city. And my frustration comes with, our code enforcement has worked really hard trying to get a hold of county, getting the county out there to long story short, these people don't have food permits, they have no business licenses, they have PD has been, later in the process, PD has been involved. Their vehicle's been towed, they don't have driver's licenses, they don't have registration, they don't have anything. They're parked on what is technically county property, which is about literally 18 inches off of the city property. But this has been going on for 3 years, and I'm frustrated, Chris, because I feel like the county is just not stepping up. It is ridiculous that we have businesses in this town that pay for business licenses and pay for waste, fees, which are expensive. They pay for all the things that the city requires them to have, that we require them to have. And then on top of that, you have the county comes down, they come to my business too, and they come in, do their inspection to make sure everything's fine, and we got the right paper towels in the dispensers, and we have the right this and that. A lot of these are little things, but they're big deals to the county when they come do these inspections. If anybody owns a restaurant, you'll know how that stuff goes. But yet it's the Wild West out here on Twin Cities Roundabout, and these people are out here serving food. I've talked to a city attorney about this, and I just don't understand why the city, if the county's not going to help us, we need to, as a city, figure out what we can do to step this up. We have people jaywalking across the roundabout. We have people illegally parking. Sometimes the pop-up vendor himself is actually parked on the ADA pad on the crosswalk, which I don't even understand how that could even go without a citation. I know that our PD is busy handling what I would consider real crimes, but if you're a business in this town, and we have lots of we have lots of Mexican restaurants, which are direct competitors of these. This is like a slap in the face, because we preach shop local, we preach, do business locally, we act like we support businesses, but we need to be advocating and fighting for these businesses. Basically, what I'm looking for from the council is, and I was trying to think outside the box here. If we can't get the county to do their job, then how can we level the playing field for our businesses? What I would suggest is maybe we should have a resolution. Maybe we should suspend all business licenses for businesses in Galt. So as long as these people are operating illegally, that the businesses in Galt shouldn't have to pay for business licenses and things like that. Just to make the playing field fair. Because, it's not fair for us to hold some people accountable to the law, and then other people, we just say, well, that is what it is, right? We have to do something. And my frustration is not at staff. I just want to make that clear. My frustration is mainly at the county. But I feel like if we have to have staff call the county every single day and just fill up their voicemail box on this, it needs to be done, because this is ridiculous. It needs to be squashed. It needs to be taken care of. And if we expect people to want to open a business in town, it's the broken window theory. Who the hell is going to want to open a business in town when they say, well, I could just operate illegally on the fringe. I could just go right over the county line and just sell hamburgers or tacos or whatever. So I think I made my point. I'm sorry to bring this up, Chris, but I think 3 years, I'm just very frustrated on this, and I just want to get council ideas, support, future agenda items, something. Maybe get direction to staff that maybe Frank can meet with Chris and you guys can brainstorm with PD on what can we do legally.
Yeah, it's I share your frustration on the issue, and it is important, and I appreciate you bringing it up. Our group has been very proactive in it, as you mentioned. We've done a number of activity out there, even though it isn't in our jurisdiction, it certainly impacts us greater than any others. And it's amazing like how fast they return, so other than like a constant presence by the county to be able to address them, I understand their frustration too, how difficult it is for them. So the answer going forward, I don't know, I'm
But
supporting.
Mr. Rice, two sting, we organized, they were gracious enough to come down and do like a sting operation, right, with our code enforcement. But that happened like 2 or 3 times in 3 years. And it was like moving mountains to get that to happen. But yet, I know personally businesses in town, they got like a visit from county health that says, oh, we got, somebody called us and filed a complaint saying that your business license wasn't up to speed or there's some caveat. And it would end up being some little small oversight or something, wasn't even anything major. But they have the time to come down and do that. But they don't have the time to come down. And I know that the last time there was a sting, it was supposed to happen on a certain night. I drove by 2 hours later. I called the code enforcement officer and said, did you guys do the sting tonight? He goes, oh, yeah. We cited them. They got cited thousands of dollars. We made them pack up their stuff. They left. I said, well, they're out there cooking right now. And he goes, right now tonight? I go, yeah, 2 hours later, they're back set up again. I mean, it's basically like they're just giving us the middle finger, more or less. And so, yeah.
Sorry, that was an actual clearing of the throat.
You sure you weren't trying to get attention?
No, thank you for stopping my rant. But
No, I would, if I wanted to stop your rant, I would say, excuse me. But since I have your attention, I will say this. Why don't the city manager and I, with council's blessing, meet and discuss this? And obviously, Councilmember Farmer will meet with you and discuss it. And we can work on developing either approach or strategy. And if it requires bringing back something to the council for discussion, let's do that. We obviously can't discuss more right now.
I mean, is that something that council supports? I'm just looking for support.
I certainly will support that. And same thing, Councilman Farmer said. The last time when they said that, because I actually drive by maybe 2-3 times every day, even at the night time after 8 o'clock, they just bring them on there. So I do understand is not our jurisdiction, but we need to find out a consensus of what we can do. This is very, outside of, it is with Sacramento County and so see what we can do.
Yeah, and I appreciate
Absolutely.
it. And just one last thing, this is not just about, another business in town, this is a public safety issue. This is a health issue. This is a traffic safety issue. I mean, I can go all across. And so I think this needs to be prioritized a lot bigger than it has been in the past. So I appreciate your time, Frank, working with staff and coming up with something. I look forward to hearing what you guys have. So thank you. Other than that, I just want to say again, thank you to Public Works for, what you guys are doing out there. With not only that project, but I know there's a lot of projects going on in town. You guys are juggling many balls, so I appreciate that. I know I was going to say something to Armando about his, but he's not here tonight, so I'll save that for him personally. Other than that, I think that's all I had. Thank you for my soapbox tonight.
Thank you. Well, before you get off that soapbox, I didn't get to contribute to that. I am 100% behind us figuring out. I think we can think outside the box. And I'm only saying this because I don't think I'll be in any of these meetings, but I think, we could utilize caps. I would just go and park a caps car right where they're supposed to be. Maybe it just moves them down the road, but it might move them down the road far enough that it's, affects them and doesn't affect us as much or whatever. I think there's things we can do. It's right there by that on-ramp. Maybe even CHP would be interested in helping to patrol the area, or at least go park there to go and catch people off of, if we encourage them to set up a speed trap. I don't know what it is, but they're sitting right there. That might detour. I mean, I think we need to reach out to Caltrans, to CHP. If the county can't help, maybe we reach out to these other organizations and maybe they'll put the pressure on the county. I don't know, but I think that there's other avenues. And like I said, if we can use caps or, or just even park a patrol vehicle there and before they come, that might detour people from them setting up. And I will say this, I have a family member who is who's a police officer in another state. She does undercover work, and I asked her if they were having similar issues, and she said yes, they're kind of the not as that they have bigger fish to fry. She's actually an undercover for sex trafficking. But what she said that they have discovered is that oftentimes these pop-up food vendors are part of the human trafficking that aged out of the sex trafficking portion of it, and they're still under the thumb of whomever, and they now cook. So I think this could be a bigger situation, and maybe we can, and Frank's trying to get me to stop again, but.
Water, Frank?
But anyway, so I am 100% behind the city
Man, I hope he's not
exploring
getting-
other
There's
options.
something going around. Hope he's not getting sick.
I do have another question,
I'm
not to
zero
get
over here.
on
I'm
his
surprised
other
I'm not sick.
soapbox, but for Mr. Trin, can you explain inspections? Because we have an inspector who goes and does these, but he's not inspecting every single property and every single whatever. What are they inspecting? How often? How many? Is it 10% of what he's supposed to be inspecting? Is it 100? What do they actually inspect?
Do you mean for capital projects or development or?
New building?
For the, like Fairway Oaks, or what, the Fairways now?
So generally for public works project, I mean, our main objective is essentially anything that we ultimately will take care of. So essentially, it's the wet utilities, it's the roads, and we essentially, whatever the plans are, we want to make sure the improvements are installed per plan and to meet standards, whatever sewer water line, we want to make sure it's pressure tested and installed per standard. And so at some point when we take over the project, we want to make sure that whatever improvements that are there, the off-site improvements or the on-site improvements are at an acceptable level. So because we are taking care of it.
So who inspects, say this, because we already spoke about it, the wall? Who inspects that?
Our inspector does look at the wall, and I've had correspondence with him and some of the members.
Does he walk the entire line, both sides? Is he checking, or is it just portions of it here and there, like spot checking?
It's spot checking. I mean, there's really no time to do every single block, but obviously, there are attention put on things, and we understand that, and when that happens, we make sure that we pay attention to what we're supposed to be paid.
So we can ask that inspector, whoever it is, because we contract that out, correct?
100%, yeah.
We can ask him to step up. Maybe you check a little bit more.
100%, yeah.
Okay. Because, anyway, that's what I would encourage, is that there's a little bit more eyes being looked at, or things being looked at. Let's see. Okay, I had something kind of exciting, not exciting, I thought it was pretty cool, but Mr. Solis isn't here, but I'll go ahead and say it and then contact him personally to tell him. But I had two young gentlemen over at my house for dinner, and I overheard a conversation between my son and these two young men who, they're actually missionaries for a church that travel around different areas from Galt is probably the most northern border, and they go all the way down to Modesto and out, not in the Bay Area, but kind of border. They go out to Meadow Vista and then up in the foothills and all around. And this conversation was, these two young men were bound and determined to move to Galt when they were done with college. They absolutely loved Galt, and their biggest sell was how wonderful our parks were. And so I interjected and said, "Really?" And they said, "Yeah, these have been the best parks in any of the cities they've been in. They really love Community Park." And they said, "Yeah, I don't think you guys understand what you have here." One is from Idaho and one is from South Carolina. And they just were so impressed. So I just really wanted to put those kudos out to Parks and Rec and Public Works and just everything that our city makes a good impression. I think sometimes when we live here and we see it all the time, it just becomes numb to us, and we see something wrong, and then all of a sudden, that's all that we see. So I just wanted to put it out there and thank staff for all their hard work. And I think that goes from our in-training staff all the way to the city manager and everyone in between, because I think, as you say, as the saying is, attitude reflects leadership, and I think that it's showing everywhere. So with that, there's not any other business. I'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting.